When I saw these pirates models from Wicked, I knew I had to build them in their natural environment, Isla de Muerta, with some, let's say, creative freedom. The sculpts are already incredible. I mean, they barely need paint to look good. But I wanted to give them the scene that really sells the mood, something dark and cursed. I've wanted to mess with water effects and plaster for a while, and this seems like the perfect excuse to make something amazing. But before I build anything, the two heroes need to look ready to fight to the death. I started with Jack, because he's basically the spirit animal of procrastination, and I can relate. First off, a dark brown as the base color for the hair, and a yellow sunburnt skin color as the base for the skin. I then build up layers and layers of blue, red and yellow washes to the tone I want. Then I paint the eyes off-white and mascara around the eyes with acrylics and soft pastel. Before painting his brown eyes. After that, his bandana gets a reddish coat, and I add the small details of the jewelry in his hair before moving on to the body. For the base coats, I kept things muted: browns, bluish, tans and off-whites. He's a pirate, not a fashion blogger. I noticed Jack has a fabric with classic pirate look, the red and white stripes. Easy, right? Yeah, no. First I tried freehanding them. Crooked, messed line, looked like a drunk candy cane. Repainted the whole thing. And then I thought, okay, masking tape, professional move. Except the cloth texture let the paint seep under the tape. Oh, and suddenly, I had a pirate pajamas for kids.
Trick or treat.
Repaint again. I finally said screw it and painted it solid. Oh, but it haunted me. I need those stripes. Repaint one last time. So later I took a red marker, and that was very bright, so I had to tone it down a little. And honestly, it looked acceptable. And that's a win in my book. Barbossa is the opposite, more elegant but cursed. I started with a pale, weathered skin tone to show he's sailed the seas for many years. The pants are a mix of brown and green for that earthy tone.
You sure you want that much green? He'll blend in with the seaweed.
Yeah, well, that's more practical than flashy. Not everyone is wearing a circuit costume like Jack.
Fair, he does have more beads than a Mardi Gras float.
I want Barbossa to feel grounded. Less, look at me. More, I've made deals with the sea demons. Arr. His coat has all these folds and textures that just beg for dry brushing. But first a base coat with a dark blue. Then I dry brush all around the jacket with some lighter blue-grey tone. As for the hat, I painted it black, then I dabbed brown with a sponge all over it in varying degrees to give it that rugged, weathered texture. It's like he's worn it through 100 storms and still look threatening. Painting is done. They both turned out way better than I expected, especially considering my ongoing war with stripes. Now, let's build them a proper home. The base from Wicked was already great, but I wanted to build something bigger. A slice of Isla de Muerta itself. Mostly I wanted an excuse to play with plaster and water effects, but shh. I start by measuring the XPS foam to fit a decent size cave, but not too big, since my studio's already overflowing with questionable ideas. Then, using a blade and my new foam cutter, I cut out the biggest opening in the first block. The second one, a little smaller. I cut the foam edges at a slight angle, so the layers fade together more naturally. The seams will be hidden with plaster later anyways. And in the third, I carved out a pillar to give it some interesting features. For the last part, I just made a dent using knives and the foam cutter, just to carve out a little bit. And of course I added a bottom piece, that's where the fake water will go. I carved out a waterbed using the good old foam spreader, also known as a spoon. I stacked them and glued every piece together, except for the very last wall and the floor. And now we're ready for plaster. So, to get some rocky texture for the cave walls, I poured plaster over a sheet of crumbled foil. Not too crumbled though, I learned that the hard way. The first time it looked great, until I tried to peel it off. It was like trying to separate wet paper from your dinner leftovers. Absolute pain. Once the plaster dried, I just cracked it into smaller chunks. The little pieces already have a nice rocky texture, which makes the whole wall look more natural right from the start. I used a bit of fresh plaster as glue to stick them onto the base. It also helps hide all the seams and make everything blend together. And while that was setting, I went in with a sculpting tool to shape and chip away at the walls, just to break up any smooth areas. The goal here is to make it look like nature made it, not IKEA. Now it's just a matter of making the same thing all over the walls. So, cue the music! Alright, we are ready to paint this bad boy. I'll use some highly diluted craft paints. Black, dark brown, light brown, green and white. I start with a rock where the pirates will stand, just to show you how I'll paint the rest of the cave. First, I water down dark grey wash to cover everything and create that damp, gloomy atmosphere. While it's still wet, I let a bit of thinned brown bleed into random spots so the tones blend naturally. Then a few touches of green in cracks and corners. Moss, slime or whatever grows in cursed caves. Blend until it looks like stone. It's really that easy. I repeat the process across the cave, changing it up slightly each time so it doesn't look too uniform. Big thanks to my Patreons. You're basically the Aztec gold of this diorama. Priceless, slightly cursed and completely necessary. And if you want to join this exclusive group, where you get behind the scene content and vote for my next diorama, link is down below.
Can we please get to the water effect now? I've been waiting since we started this rock.
Yes. But I really think we need some bones and coins down in the water first, right?
Yeah, you are right. That's a good idea. But hurry, I want to see that water failure.
Joe,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see how you made the water.
We will get there very soon, okay? I toss in a handful of 3D printed bones into a container, splash in some paint and shake it like I'm making a devil's cocktail. The goal here is thick and uneven layers that look aged and grimy. I let them dry and repeat once more. And then brush over with different browns and greens to get that been underwater for centuries look. Once they're dry, I hit them with a black wash to bring out the texture and make them look really old. Then glue them to the bottom of where the water will go. And by the way, if you want to print your own, the bone files are in the Discord. Perfect if you're planning your own pirate cove or, a cheerful little murder scene. I went to my favorite hobby store and found this Easy Water by Woodland Scenic. These tiny waxy beads that I can melt. Way easier than resin, and I can reheat them if I mess up. Sounded perfect, right? So I glued some leftover acrylic sheets along the sides to contain the water, and started melting the beads over a water bath. And nothing happened. Turns out these melt at way higher temps. Great start! Since the water bath clearly wasn't hot enough and I didn't want to ruin a perfect good pan, I came up with a brilliant idea. Foil. Just a thin layer to protect the pan but still let the heat through. Yes, slowly the beads started to melt into a golden syrupy pool. It felt like some wild science experiment. One wrong move and the whole thing is bust. But I did take it very slow to minimize bubbles, and then it hit me. This stuff is pretty much boiling point, and I'm gonna pour this over foam? Oh man. I whispered a prayer to the holiest of Teletubbies and poured. At first, everything looked fine, but shortly after, bubbles rose. A small leak threatened, and I threw myself over the fan and started cooling it down, and somehow, victory. And that, Joe, is how our cursed cave water was born.
Excellent. What about the bubbles? Is it ruined?
No, not at all. You see, that's the beauty of this easy water. You can just reheat it and pop all the bubbles. Nice, huh? So that's what I did. I'm going all over the water and melting the bubbles on the top and make it wavy, like water. Now we're getting somewhere. The cave suddenly breathes, the reflection dance, and it's like the whole scene just woke up. Now comes the grand finale. Time to put everything together, glue the pieces, light the torches, and finally bring our pirates home to their cursed cave. But first, we need a little pet. So here's a wild fact about Jack the monkey. And no, it's not me losing my mind painting this tiny fur. Back in the first movie, the whole crew of the Black Pearl got cursed after stealing that Aztec gold. Shiny coins, bad decisions, the usual pirate stuff. They couldn't die, and under the moonlight they turned into walking skeletons. Now, when the curse was finally lifted and everyone turned back to normal, this little rascal, Jack the monkey, decided he missed being undead. At the very end of the movie, like after the credits when no one's watching anymore, he sneaks back into that cave, grabs one of the coins, and boom, he re-cursed himself. That's why in the later movies he somehow survives everything. That getting shot at, blown out of a cannon, you name it, nothing seems to stop this little guy. So yeah, the crew got their freedom, but the monkey, he chose immortality. Probably just to keep biting people forever. Speaking of the gold-filled Aztec chest, obviously I have to include that one.
Aztec guest? Wait, are we inviting a cursed visitor over? Because I once had a guest who showed up riding a unicycle while juggling flaming pineapples.
What? No, I said chest, not guest.
Oh, right. Chest. Still, that was the most chaotic tea party ever.
Focus. Chest. I painted black and dry brushed the sides with gold. Then hit the coins with a layer of golden speed paint. And then regular gold for some variation. Now, when everything is in place, I just have to put up the torches and... oh, wait. The torches. I never made hole for the torches. I'm gonna eyeball it. What's the worst that could happen? Let's get the drill. The plan here is to make a hole right into the center of the middle pillar, so I could thread some wires through that. But a drill was obviously not long enough. So I did what any professional would do. I went on a hunt for something long and skinny to carve out the inside. A mix of drills, clamps, files, and eventually a honing steel. Yeah, turns out that was the exact length I needed. Alright, the torches. Small, but they make a huge difference. These are 3D printed from real life-sized files. Yes, I had to shrink them down thousands of percent to fit the diorama. I've dropped the files in the Discord if you happen to need one in the man cave. I started with a dark brown base to give them that old burned wood feel, you know. Then I dry brushed a lighter brown all over the bumps and grooves, just enough to make the texture pop without overdoing it. The holders got a quick metal coat. Nothing fancy really, just enough shine so they read as metal and not plastic. And the flames, printed in translucent resin with a flickering LED inside. Honestly, the torches probably have more personality than me at this point. Without any consideration, I want the LED to be here. Perfect. And then I thread the wire inside. Thread the wire... What? Thread the... What? Thread the wire... Ah, there we go. Worked perfect first time. Now, for the torches on the sides, I want them to be aligned, but lower than the middle one. So I took my trusty old laser and just drilled it. The cave feels a little naked right now, so stalactites are going up, glued into the ceiling like they own the place. How I made them? Ha! That's a secret. If you really want to know, ask in the comments. I might just see who's brave enough to demand answers around here. The sides were mostly about hiding the edges and keeping the cave feel, well, like a cave. Measured, cut, glued, painted matte black, simple but effective. The front took a little more tweaking to get to the right size, but after a few, maybe, moments, it just clicked into place. Honestly, if the pirates had a Yelp account, they'd give me 5 stars for effort and 2 stars for time spent muttering at foam. And with that, the stage is set. The cursed cave, the treasures, the pirates, the water, the torches, it's all here. From resin sculpts to a fully alive Isla de Muerta. A little trial and error, a lot of stubbornness, and a dash of chaos. We made it. And yes, it's as cursed as it looks.
Thanks for sticking around.
Hey, that's my line. Get out of here. Until next time, stay creative.